Tonight, after Stellantis chooses Illinois workers over Ontario's, Donald Trump celebrates and Doug Ford fumes.
We need to start hitting back and hitting back hard. That's the only thing this person understands.
The jobs at stake, the political heat, and the Prime Minister's next move. Dramatic new details of the U.S. government's campaign against Venezuela.
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly.
And Canada hasn't just ordered F-35 fighter jets. Canadian companies make some of the top secret parts.
We're not allowed to look inside these boxes.
David Common on the politics of sovereignty, security, and good old-fashioned jobs.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. Canada's auto sector is reeling tonight after taking another major economic hit in the wake of U.S. tariffs. Automaker Stellantis says it is moving production from a plant in Brampton, Ontario, to the state of Illinois, part of its plan to expand operations in the U.S. This throws the fate of thousands of Canadian jobs into question and stokes fears that other companies might follow suit. Now, Stellantis has been in Canada for over 100 years and says it still has plans for the Brampton plant, but its words were vague. And as Nisha Patel shows us, it's left some in the auto sector pessimistic about the industry's future.
Stellantis is moving production from this assembly plant in Brampton, Ontario, across the border to Illinois.
We're not just going to sit here and say that's okay, because it's not okay. They've made commitments to this plant.
The company closed the plant in 2023, temporarily laying off 3,000 workers. Stellantis was revamping operations to build the Jeep Compass SUV, but froze plans to reopen in February after U.S. President Donald Trump slapped a 25% tariff on foreign-made autos. Now, with no vehicle to build, those jobs are up in the air.
We allow this to happen to the Brampton assembly plant. It could snowball to other facilities in the auto industry.
It comes as Stellantis says it will spend $13 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years, boosting auto production there by 50% and creating more than 5,000 jobs.
We share with President Trump his goal to have, again, manufacturing system in automotive very strong in U.S.
America's gain has been Canada's loss. Earlier this year, GM cut 750 jobs in Oshawa as it boosted manufacturing south of the border. These shifts all part of Trump's endgame.
We don't really want Canada to make cars for us, to put it bluntly. We want to make our own cars.
The reality is the U.S.-owned automakers in this country have almost abandoned this country, and we need to be moving on and looking at other potential investors.
But some warn Canada should push back.
It doesn't stop at auto. They will keep coming until they have weakened us as a nation and as an economy.
In nearby Windsor, Stellantis workers say the mood across the industry is grim.
We've had a layoff already not that long ago. Yeah, it's sort of a shaky, uncertain sort of market.
Of course, everybody's going to be up on the edge trying to figure out what they're going to do next.
For now, the future of this plant and its workers still very much in limbo.
Nisha, what else are you hearing from Stellantis?
Adrian, Stellantis tells CBC News tonight that it is investing in Canada by adding a third shift to its plant in Windsor, Ontario. The company says that it does have plans for this Brampton assembly plant and will share them after it talks to the federal government.
All right, thank you. That is Nisha Patel reporting in Brampton, Ontario. The Stellantis move is a political bombshell for federal and provincial leaders. Prime Minister Mark Carney and Premier Doug Ford each pinning the move to U.S. tariffs, though, as Ashley Burke shows us, in very different tones.
Good morning, Prime Minister. What's your message to Stellantis?
Good morning. I've already given a statement on it.
The Prime Minister not saying much on camera after Donald Trump got what he wants, with Stellantis moving some Canadian production to the U.S. But Ontario's Premier didn't hold back.
That guy, President Trump, he's a real piece of work.
Doug Ford calling Trump a tyrant.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs.
And using Ronald Reagan's famous words in a new $75 million U.S. ad campaign.
America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Ford said he's meeting with Mark Carney on Thursday to tell him it's time to fire back at Trump, who's making him nuts.
He drives me absolutely crazy. He does. And we aren't going to roll over. I'm not going to let him roll over Ontario, I'll tell you that.
The opposition putting pressure on the Prime Minister, too.
It's time for you to keep your promise to negotiate a win.
It's completely unacceptable. So we will fight for these jobs.
Canada's industry minister taking aim at Stellantis instead.
150,000 cars made by Stellantis are sold every year in Canada. And so Canadians know what to do when a company doesn't necessarily have the interests of Canadians at stake.
Jolie sent this letter to the company's CEO, threatening legal action, writing Stellantis has received billions of dollars in financial support over the decades and agreed to maintain its full Canadian footprint.
These companies making decisions to cower to the White House. Let's make sure that they understand that there are real consequences.
In a press release, the White House claiming the automaker's $13 billion investment as a victory and example of America's manufacturing sector surging.
It's also made us very rich.
Trump aggressively defended his tariffs and says he's considering attending a Supreme Court hearing on their legality, looking for a win.
And if we do, we're going to be the most powerful economic country in the world.
Carney's Canada-U.S. trade minister and top public servant are back in Washington this week trying to get tariff relief for Canada, but so far, no sign of a breakthrough. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Pressure is building on the ceasefire in Gaza as Israel accuses Hamas of dragging its feet in handing over the bodies of deceased hostages. And as Tom Perry shows us from Cairo, Israel now says that the remains of a person returned by the militant group turned out not to be a hostage at all.
A funeral procession in central Israel. Mourners paying their respects to Guy Eluz, shot by Hamas during its attack on the Nova Music Festival on October 7, 2023. Eluz was taken back to Gaza a hostage.
I come here to express my so sad feelings with the family.
Hamas pledged to return the remains of 28 hostages, but has failed to do so. Now, Israel accuses the group of causing hostage families more pain.
Hamas also released another body overnight, and after going through the proper identification process at the Forensic Institute in Yaffo, it is confirmed the body is not of a hostage.
Hamas says the devastation in Gaza makes finding bodies difficult. Israel has begun returning the remains of Palestinians killed in the fighting to health officials in Gaza, but it's applying pressure on Hamas by refusing so far to open the Rafah crossing between Egypt and Gaza to humanitarian aid. Assistance is being allowed in through other corridors, but aid groups say more is needed.
We're all advocating for opening the crossings, facilitating our access inside Gaza, making sure there is law and order so people can actually also move freely inside the Gaza Strip.
Along with the squeeze on aid, U.S. President Donald Trump is once again warning Hamas to disarm as part of the peace agreement.
We want the weapons to be given up, sacrificed, and they've agreed to do it. Now they have to do it. And if they don't do it, we'll do it.
Trump went on CNN and suggested he'd allow Israel to resume its campaign in Gaza if Hamas doesn't uphold its end of the deal. Israel accuses Hamas of doing just that by not returning all the hostages. Hamas tonight released the remains of 2 more Israelis. The group issued a statement saying it's released all the living hostages and all the bodies that it can. Tom Perry, CBC News, Cairo.
At least 4 North American airports were hit by an apparent cyber attack that briefly had PA systems and display screens broadcasting pro-Hamas messages. The messages, which were not showing, were seen at both Kelowna and Victoria International Airports in BC, as well as Windsor International in Ontario and the airport in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Transport Canada says it is working closely with law enforcement to stop similar incidents from happening in the future. And tension between the U.S. and Venezuela is escalating tonight after Donald Trump confirmed reports He's authorized the CIA to operate inside the South American country. As Katie Simpson tells us, this comes after another military strike against alleged drug boats off of Venezuela's coast.
U.S. military forces target another boat off the coast of Venezuela. This vessel, according to Donald Trump, was loaded up with drugs. The strike, he says, killed 6 drug traffickers. The U.S. has carried out 5 different strikes in roughly the same area over 6 weeks, with Trump saying he's now considering new possible targets.
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control.
Trump also confirmed he's authorized the CIA to operate inside Venezuela, repeating a familiar, unproven claim about migrants entering the U.S. as part of his justification.
I authorized for 2 reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. Many countries have done it, but not like Venezuela. They were down and dirty. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela.
The U.S. is ramping up pressure on Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. views him as a drug lord, illegitimately clinging to power, while Canada has denounced Maduro's actions, imposing dozens of sanctions on Venezuelan officials. And this year's Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to Venezuela's pro-democracy opposition leader.
We're not alone. The world recognizes this huge and epic fight.
Trump was asked directly whether he's given the CIA the authority to take Maduro out.
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer? But I think Venezuela's feeling heat.
In a statement, the Venezuelan government accuses the U.S. of seeking regime change in order to appropriate Venezuelan oil resources and plans to formally complain to the United Nations. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
After a decade of liberal rule, Newfoundland and Labrador has elected a majority progressive conservative government.
Change is up to all of us, and it is my promise to you that as Premier, I will give this everything I've got.
That's Premier-designate Tony Wakeham delivering his victory speech, pledging a new political era for the province. His party won 21 out of the 40 seats. That's a result that came as a surprise to many. Now, one of Wakeham's key campaign promises was a referendum on the province's tentative hydro deal with Quebec. Heather Gillis shows us why it is now in limbo.
We have a new PC majority government, Premier-designate Tony Wakeham.
It's an unexpected change in government for Newfoundland and Labrador.
Pollsters and pundits were saying it was going to be another Liberal majority. But we knew, all of us.
Tony Wakeham, now Premier-designate, campaigned to change one of the central Liberal planks, the Churchill Falls power agreement with Quebec. The new tentative deal signed last December by former Premier Andrew Furey aimed to fix what's seen as an unfair contract from 1969 and build new hydropower in Labrador. Instead of finalizing that new deal this spring, Wakeham says he won't rush. He wants it reviewed, renegotiated, and subject to a province-wide referendum.
What do you think that means for the Churchill Falls MOU?
I personally think it's bonkers.
Political scientist Kelly Badook says a referendum could kill the deal worth $225 billion to the province. With Quebecers going to the polls next year, he says it's time Premier François Legault doesn't have.
The best negotiating partner you're going to get is the current Quebec government, and that government will change a year from now.
In a statement, Legault wrote, "I'm convinced the agreement in principle on the development of Labrador's energy is beneficial for both Newfoundland and Labrador and Quebec." A sentiment Hydro-Quebec echoed while calling the deal equitable. Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro CEO says it's focused on the best interests of this province, but wants to talk with Wakeham about how vital their electricity is to the province's future.
Tony Wakeham has yet to be sworn in as the 16th Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, but the Liberals he defeated last night are urging him to stay the course on Churchill Falls. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Alberta will consider forcing striking teachers back to work if there's no deal in place within 12 days. Finance Minister Nate Horner dropped that bomb on a Chorus radio show, saying the province can't afford the union's latest offer. The union said forcing an end to the strike won't address problems like class size and giving adequate help to students with special needs. When it comes to Canada Post services, there are calls tonight for election materials like voter cards and mail-in ballots to be deemed essential. As Marina von Stackelberg shows us, this push follows hectic efforts in many places to get key documents to voters.
Canada Post was supposed to mail all these registration cards, but with municipal elections across Quebec just weeks away, there's been a scramble to get voter information out in other ways.
We decided to deliver the card by a courier. The courier will ensure that everyone will receive a card and we will have a proof of that.
The strike has been so disruptive, Montreal wants all election materials deemed essential, so voter information and mail-in ballots aren't held up in any future Canada Post strikes.
The city of Gatineau paid a bailiff to deliver its registration cards. So instead of serving legal notices, they served election information. In most parts of Canada, you can just register to vote on election day. Not in Quebec. Here, voters have to make sure they are correctly on the list this week to make sure they can cast their ballot next month.
In the north, mail-in ballots were sent out through a network of road and air. Upcoming territorial elections in Yukon and Nunavut required entire logistics plans. Yukon also loosened the rules for where people can vote in person.
Everything is figure-outable. And obviously we want to make sure that we keep the integrity, the access, the services to the electors.
Alberta's municipal elections are next week. Like in many other jurisdictions, voters can look up their registration details online. So while the cards aren't essential, they do play a vital role.
The best way after personal contact to get somebody to be mobilized to go to the polls is through this sort of direct mailing information.
Those cards are even more important in provincial, territorial, and municipal elections, where the rules can all be different and voter turnout already tends to be low. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Gatineau, Quebec.
The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board has issued its final report on the 2023 OceanGate Titan submersible disaster. The cause, repeated hull damage, culminating in calamity. The Titan imploded in deep ocean waters far off the coast of St. John's in 2023. According to the report, its flawed hull was destined to fail and had begun cracking several dives earlier. It found that OceanGate, led by founder Stockton Rush, didn't do proper testing or monitoring. All 5 passengers died, including Rush. Well, a man has been convicted in Scotland in the gruesome murder of his Canadian girlfriend.
She was so light, she was so bubbly, she wanted to explore the world.
The disturbing details from the remote Shetland Islands community, next. Plus, the Blue Jays head west with their playoff hopes hanging in the balance.
We thought, when's the next time they're going to be in this situation?
The Canadian fans cheering them on in Seattle. And later, her research changed the way the world approached transplants.
Your work saved my daughter's life 8 years ago.
A surprise thank you from the heart. We're back in 2. A man who killed his Canadian girlfriend on the remote Shetland Islands in Scotland has been sentenced to at least 25 years in prison. A warning, this story from Karen Pauls is about horrifying intimate partner violence. But tonight, for the victim and her family, it is also a story about justice.
Today, we were able to get justice for Claire.
Hope Ingram traveled to this Edinburgh court from Canada to support her uncle, Claire Levesque's father. They were cousins, but she considered her a sister.
She was so light, she was so bubbly, she wanted to explore the world, and that is why she traveled out here to Scotland.
In 2023, Levesque followed her boyfriend, Aaron Pearson, from Edmonton to his mother's home in the remote Scottish Shetland Islands. Locals saw Pearson driving his Porsche around, but many didn't realize he had a girlfriend with him.
Claire had, as far as I understand it, no money. She had no driver's license. She had no access to a car of her own. and she was living in a very, very rural and remote place.
Levesque recorded conversations in which Pearson said she deserved the beatings he gave her.
And that message stated to Pearson that one day he would kill her, and in February of 2024, that's exactly what happened.
Court heard an excerpt of an emergency call made from the house that day.
Hi, my name is Aaron Pearson. I just killed my girlfriend in a hot tub in the garage.
What's your girlfriend's name?
Claire Levesque.
Pearson's mother told police he was behaving like a zombie. He'd stabbed himself, consumed brake fluid, and drove his Porsche into the sea. In court, Pearson said Levesque stabbed herself, and he couldn't remember what happened next. The jury and the judge didn't buy it.
This malicious, vindictive, and wholly fabricated account suggests certainly to me that you have sought to continue to humiliate your victim after her death.
Pearson has a criminal history in Alberta, too. A court check found charges, including assault with a weapon, between 2016 and 2023, although most were withdrawn. That angers this family friend who's been following the case from Winnipeg.
He never had convictions, but victims have come forward speaking about the level of violence that they've survived.
Hope Ingram says she needs to move on, but hopes her cousin will be remembered for her life, not her gruesome death.
My goal in life to try and remember Claire is just to be as kind, as open.
Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
If you or someone you know is experiencing intimate partner violence, you can find help, including access to shelters and other supports at endingviolencecanada.org. And if the need is immediate, of course, please call 911 or a local emergency number. Well, the Blue Jays are hoping to turn their playoff fortunes around in Seattle.
There's a 14-hour road trip. We're like, yeah, we got to go make it happen.
Why the road game may feel a bit more like home. Plus, as Canada weighs its commitment to buy U.S.-made F-35 fighter jets, the impact could stretch beyond the skies.
It's almost emotional, like when you think, hey, we're in Lunenburg, this small town, and we've been along for the ride right from the beginning.
David Common goes where the jets are built, including some surprising Canadian contributions. And in Nova Scotia, the race for critical minerals heats up.
We can't expect Nova Scotia to prosper when we ban industry after industry after industry.
The dramatic measures the province is taking to extract more. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. Hey, how's this for a celebration of the Toronto Blue Jays' season of high-flying success? A Nova Scotia pilot took off from Halifax International Airport and then, over the course of about 2 hours, flew the route of a most unusual flight plan. His tribute, as you can see, an aerial design of the team's logo. The Toronto Blue Jays have beaten the Mariners tonight in Seattle, boosting their chances of a historic series comeback. And devoted Canadian fans were right there to cheer the team on. Jamie Strachan was south of the border with them.
At Seattle's famous Pike Place Market and all around the city, Blue Jay fans everywhere.
We're huge Blue Jays fans. There's a 14-hour road trip. We're like, yeah, we got to go make it happen, and we're so excited.
Some crossed the border by car.
We thought, when's the next time they're going to be in this situation? So we bought tickets and told our husbands the next day.
You leave them at home?
We left them at home.
Yeah. Gonna have so much fun down in Seattle. Go Blue Jays.
On our way to the Blue Jays Mariners.
Others by plane or boat. Blue Jay enthusiasm aside, this is still Mariner territory. Not everyone is a Blue Jay believer. Blue Jays are coming back to win the series, right? No! For a typical Blue Jay game played here in Seattle, usually about half the crowd cheering for the Jays. Not quite that many today, but still Blue Jay fans well represented.
All the way from northern BC, 12 hours from Vancouver, to help the Jays win this game.
Enemy territory down here.
I don't care. Do any of them have one of these? That's what I'm talking about, eh?
I'm a sports fan, so it doesn't matter where they're playing, I'm gonna go.
Go Blue Jays!
The Jays appreciate it all.
Go Jays!
I think that when you get into some pretty loud, hostile environments, regular season or postseason here. We're expecting it to be loud. So I think to have, a good little chunk of Blue Jay fans would be good for the guys.
Go Jays!
With an uphill climb to get back into this series, the Jays need all the help they can get. Woo! Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Seattle.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. In Nova Scotia's rush to mine critical minerals, some are warning, not in my backyard.
I would be one of those people that would stand up and say, over my dead body kind of thing.
But first, Canada's F-35 dilemma. Trade tensions force the question, why buy American? One answer, Canadians make a lot of the parts.
And we've been along for the ride right from the beginning.
Those jobs could be on the line if Canada pivots to a Swedish alternative.
Is the F-35, in your mind, the right jet for Canada?
That's a loaded question.
David Common is on the case, starting with a hard-won tour of the U.S. plant where those F-35s are assembled.
This will be the most expensive fighter jet Canada has ever purchased. But with such cross-border tensions now, is a plane built by an American defense company still right for Canada?
For many decades, military aircraft have been built in this massive facility here in Fort Worth, Texas. You hear the aircraft going over right now. This is Air Force Plant number 4, and it's taken us months to gain access to what is ordinarily a very secretive facility. Join us inside as we show you where the F-35 is built.
Each plane begins as just a wing. That's what you see here. And that's all that's built for the first 2 of the 16 jets Canada has committed to buying. In total, 20 nations have placed orders, from Japan to Israel, Romania to Singapore. Every single one put together in this massive American facility. More than 1,200 so far.
What I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state.
But talk like this from the U.S. Commander-in-Chief has threatened to scuttle the deal.
Does Lockheed Martin feel that it needs to fight to keep Canada's business?
We need to fight to keep every customer's business.
Chauncey McIntosh is a vice president at Lockheed Martin. He runs the F-35 program.
The challenge, I think, for a lot of Canadians is we probably became overly dependent on the United States for decades for our defense. And now Canadians are worried that Americans are the threat.
The fact that Canadian industry plays a major part in building this platform and has continued to grow in that, and the economic impact that it provides back to Canada. So I would maybe reverse the question and say, is this not a Canadian-involved program? From the very inception, when we thought of the F-35, Canada been a partner from that moment all the way through today. Canada is definitely a part of this F-35 platform.
He has a point.
While the fighter jets are assembled here in Texas, parts come from a global supply chain. And because Canada has been part of this program for decades, Canadian suppliers are among those putting parts in. $3 million plus for each aircraft that comes off this line.
80% of this plane is built somewhere else before being shipped to Fort Worth for assembly. Around 30 contractors in Canada are building key parts of the F-35. Including right here in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia at Stellantis. Miranda Lone's job is to make sure every single piece is up to snuff for both defense and commercial parts like these.
What's it like for you to be helping build the F-35 right here?
Oh, very exciting. F-35 is a really cool program. It's a very complex program with very stringent requirements. It's very rewarding because it's military and it's proprietary information.
Do your friends who don't know what you do and then find out that you're working on the F-35, are they surprised?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anybody I talk to and say that we're manufacturing F-35 aircraft parts in Nova Scotia are shocked to know that that's what we're doing for work, yes.
The picturesque town may not seem like an obvious place to build parts of warplanes, but besides tourism and fishing, the manufacturer is one of the biggest employers in town. They make parts for Boeing and Airbus, and now for military clients too.
We make 50 different part numbers for the F-35.
Dave Mitchell is Stellia's Senior Program Manager of Defense.
The F-35 is supposed to be the most sophisticated, most advanced fighter jet that exists today with stealth capabilities. What is it that a composite part from here helps it to do?
They're structural, they're lightweight. There are some stealth properties that are tied to...
I can see in your face you don't want to say too much about it.
I really can't, no.
Yeah.
That's basically all I can really say.
Suffice to say, they make carbon composite panels and doors which allow the stealth plane to stay invisible to an adversary's radar.
It is so secretive, the work that they do here in Nova Scotia, that while they can show us the parts that they make for civilian aircraft, when it comes to something military like the F-35, they really can't show us anything other than these boxes that have the parts for the weapons bay doors inside. We're not allowed to look inside these boxes.
It's almost emotional, like when you think, hey, we're in Lunenburg, this small town, and we've been along for the ride right from the beginning. And when you actually see them in the sky, it's going to really, hit home that, hey, our parts are on those planes.
But it's also possible Canada could cut the contract short.
Well, that would be disappointing. No, that's a government decision. I really can't comment on, whether the program is going to be used by the Canadian government or not. We're proud to be on the program either way. Hopefully we would retain the work for all the other countries that are going to buy the aircraft.
That is the question. Canada has the option of buying up to 88 of the planes, but it's only contractually obligated to buy 16. If the government backed away, it could hit the Canadian contractors who would lose preferential access.
If Canada walks away at 16 aircraft, are Canadian companies still going to get business after that?
So I'd say Canada can always continue to bid at a best value.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get it.
It means that they will always have the opportunity to present ideas and opportunities.
That is far from a guarantee. With production of this plane expected to continue for another 25 years, new contractors are still being brought on. Christie Digital is one of them. The Kitchener, Ontario-based manufacturer used to make televisions. A year ago, they landed a contract to help build the next generation of F-35 flight simulators.
It'll be all around you. It's a 360 degrees immersive environment.
Harminder Banwait is an engineer and the director of business development.
So we were actually very excited to be a Canadian company to be selected as part of the F-35 program.
Is the work that you're doing because of the contract with Lockheed Martin now, is that going to help you expand this business with other customers?
Absolutely. It puts our LED product on the map.
And Canadian parts don't just go to Canadian planes. See the folding wings on this version of the F-35? The high-tech hinges are made in British Columbia, even though Canada will never use this version of the plane because it's intended for use on aircraft carriers, and Canada doesn't have any. Many critics argue Canada should just cut short the F-35 order and add in a cheaper jet. Top of that list is often the Gripen, produced by NATO ally Sweden.
Is the F-35, in your mind, the right jet for Canada?
That's a loaded question.
Alan Williams would know. He once ran procurement for Canada's national defense, including the initial assessment of the F-35.
70% of the cost of a aircraft is its long-term support, not its acquisition. And with regard to that, the Gripen E, for instance, is 1/6 the cost per hour flying cost as the F-35. The issue is...
But Williams believes the Air Force is sold on the American jet over the European one.
If we were to take fewer planes from Lockheed Martin, some of the Canadian contractors could well lose out on business. Is that a reason to stay in the F-35 program?
No. I mean, the fact is that what we might lose on the F-35, we would more than gain with whoever else we've gone with. The package that the Gripen E had voiced going forward was to build them here.
Whatever Canada chooses will need to happen soon. Canceling has implication to workers and investment on both sides of the border.
What is your argument for Canada to stick with the F-35 as opposed to going to a European aircraft?
When you have one airplane, that means you train one set of pilots to one standard, you have maintainers that are trained to one standard, and you also have the infrastructure that comes along with all of that.
You're not a politician,
I'm not.
but there's politics involved here. You talk about threat. Some people see the United States as a threat now. How do you deal with that political context?
I myself have had the opportunity to work on many programs there supporting the security of Canada with over 1,000 employees ourselves in Canada. So when I talk about 20 nations that have already partnered to buy this airplane, this is about what's best for the security of Canada, fitting into the NATO alliance, and then that integration with the rest of the alliance.
Now, just yesterday, Industry Minister Mélanie Joly told Radio-Canada she's pressuring Lockheed Martin to bring more economic benefits to Canada. She said she's also talking to Saab about that Swedish jet, noting that all G7 countries have a mixed fleet. Nova Scotia is pushing hard to get precious lithium out of the ground. Some landowners worry they will get pushed out.
If you discovered lithium right here, I'd say you're going to take my blueberries. I don't think so.
We get perspective from a prospector in his 80s who has waited decades for his claim to pay off. To fill the long-term demand for lithium, Nova Scotia wants to dig, baby, dig.
It was a welcome breath of fresh air.
The province has the power to force exploration on private property, and it recently used it.
That will happen across the province. There'll be pushback for sure.
In the last year alone in Nova Scotia, exploration for critical minerals was up almost 70%. Tom Murphy breaks down who's for, who's against, and who just wants to have a say.
Canada has what the world wants: critical minerals, valuable resources.
The natural resource potential that we have in this province, and it is very, very significant.
And now in Nova Scotia, some say the faster we get at it, the better.
When can you start drilling? I said, how does next week sound to you?
Drill, baby, drill.
With sour trade relations south of the border, some see it as our drill baby drill moment, much to the chagrin of others.
It's heavy-handed.
And in a rare move, the Nova Scotia government has already forced mineral exploration on one owner's land.
I would be one of those people that would stand up and say, you know, over my dead body.
Just how far is this province prepared to push things?
Oh, about 30 years now.
You've been coming here for 30 years.
Yes.
To the untrained eye, this is just a rock wall.
It's that white streak coming diagonally down.
But John Whiteman knows there's lithium in there. He staked his claim amid the telltale rocks of Brazil Lake, Nova Scotia, decades ago.
Just over 10 million tons of lithium ore, or pegmatite.
But since then, he says it's been a hard slog developing a mine here. Now, in his mid-80s, this veteran prospector says the province's recent pledge to expedite resource development will attract more investors, promising them faster returns.
People that are initially interested in investing in the future of an operation are not going to get tired and walk away.
It's time that we realize on those opportunities so quickly.
The Houston government is definitely pushing the envelope. When another prospector wanted to drill for lithium nearby, the government invoked rarely used legislation to force the landowner to comply after years of failed negotiations between them and the prospector.
We can't expect Nova Scotia to prosper when we ban industry after industry after industry.
It's all part of a wider and sudden policy shift by the government to extract more Nova Scotia resources to make the province more self-reliant. The government also lifted long-time bans on uranium exploration and mining, removed a moratorium on fracking for natural gas, all of it signaling to the world the province is now open for business. There's urgency in the air.
It was a welcome breath of fresh air.
How far do you think the Premier or the province will push things?
That's unknown at the time.
What might lie ahead is what makes people like David Solos nervous. He's an 8th-generation landowner in the lithium-rich Brazil Lake area.
They have that authority. If they took this place, I'd be heartbroken. I would be one of those people that would stand up and say, you know, over my dead body kind of thing. That will happen across the province. There'll be pushback for sure.
The push is on because the International Energy Agency says by 2040, the world will need 40 times more lithium, which explains the lithium rush in this province. In 2022 alone, mineral claims tripled to 27,000. Half of those are prospectors looking for lithium. $100,000 a year jobs. But in the rush to mine more of the province's resources, Indigenous people in Nova Scotia warn they have not been consulted.
We have serious concerns about how provincial decisions are being made without advance notice to and transparent conversations with the Mi'kmaq. Too often, we are informed only after decisions are made.
The government promises to consult with the Mi'kmaq and with nervous private landowners.
We would encourage the conversations to take place, but at the end of the day, the private landowner does have the rights of their private land.
And for those worried about Nova Scotia becoming a pincushion for prospectors, John Whiteman offers some perspective.
Quarrying projects, similar type operations, are less than 1/2% of the land area of Nova Scotia. This is a very small thing. There's more malls that take up more space than all the mining projects.
As for forcing property owners to allow exploration, John Whiteman's project doesn't require that. But he says experience has taught him sometimes the government has to be forceful.
I don't want to trample on anybody's rights, but if we have a chance to make a mine that will employ, we'll say 200 people, then if somebody just wants to say, oh, I'm going to stick them, I'm not going to allow them to go on there and do that. What is the best use for society?
If you discovered lithium right here, I'd say you're going to take my blueberries. I don't think so.
If all goes as planned, the Brazil Lake lithium mine could open in a couple of years, but like any commodity, a big factor is world price. In the case of lithium, despite the demand, after a spike a few years ago, prices have actually dropped. So that's adding another headwind to Nova Scotia's hopes to mine more of it, Adrian.
And Tom, this whole business of mineral extraction has to hit pretty close to home for people in Nova Scotia.
Well, quite literally, Nova Scotia is a small and densely populated province. Almost 70% of the land here is owned by private landowners. That's among the highest percentages in the country. So mineral extraction arguably has a greater impact on private landowners here than many other provinces in Canada, which explains, Adrian, why some are calling for a cautious approach.
All right. That's Tom Murphy in Halifax. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, patients surprise a doctor who helps save their lives.
It took me a little while to understand that no one in that coffee shop was actually a customer.
How they came together to thank her for her groundbreaking research. Next. Check this out. This is the moment Dr. Lori West was surprised in a coffee shop in Calgary by patients whose lives she once saved. To honor her 30 years of her research, the Heart and Stroke Foundation set her up, and she got to meet the very people who wouldn't be here without her. Tonight, her sweet and celebratory surprise is our moment.
Dr. West, I am not an interviewer. Okay. Your work saved my daughter's life 8 years ago.
I was completely taken by surprise. It took me a little while to understand that no one in that coffee shop was actually a customer. It was quite overwhelming to have all these children, now some of them adults, stand up and talk about what the impact of our research had been.
Thank you for giving people like us a second chance at life.
One boy said to me, Dr. West, I got to be a big brother because of you. It was tremendously moving. Everyone was either in tears or close to tears. 30 years ago, we discovered that unlike most organ transplants, babies could receive a transplant from a donor of a different blood group, which is something that you would never normally do because it would have a high chance of resulting in very rapid rejection. As physicians, we see our patients over the years, but there's almost no other occasion where they're there collectively, which is quite astonishing to be part of.
I could watch that all day. You know, the very first heart surgery to test this research was on Valentine's Day in 1996. Going in there, she said that in retrospect, she should have realized that she couldn't smell any coffee in that coffee shop. That should have been the first clue that something was not as it seemed. Good for you. From all of us at The National, thanks for being with us. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.